Level 1, the recruit. You're 19 years old. You don't apply for this life. You are selected for it. The moment happens after a grueling language exam at the University of Virginia. You're exhausted. Your brain is firing in 3 different languages, and then a man in a gray blazer sits across from you in the quiet hallway. He has no badge. He offers no business card. He says only 2 things. First, he tells you that you scored unusually well. Then, he asks a question that will haunt the next 40 years of your life. Would you like to do something that matters? 3 weeks later, you're on a flight to Virginia. No one knows where you're going. You told your mother it's a prestigious government internship in D.C. She believes you because she wants to. That's the first lie. The facility is buried in the woods outside Williamsburg. No signs, no flags, no paper trail. You arrive with 6 others, and you'll never learn their real names. Week 1 is pure sleep deprivation. They wake you at different times every night, not to punish you, but to study how your mind functions when you're broken. Week 2 is language immersion in Russian and Mandarin. You don't have to master them, you just have to survive in them. Week 3 is where the real training begins. They put you in a small, cold room with a man who speaks only Arabic. He's crying. He tells you his son is sick and he needs medicine. He's begging you for help. There is no medicine in the room. Your job, they tell you later, was not to help him. Your job was to keep him talking. You stayed in that room for 4 hours. You kept him talking. When you finally came out, your handler said nothing. He just wrote something in a notebook, turned the page, and walked away. That night in your bunk, you replay every minute. You wonder if the man was real, if the sun was real, or if it was all a play. Eventually, you decide it doesn't matter. That's the second lesson, and no one teaches it to you directly. You figure it out alone in the dark. The moment you start asking whether something is real, you've already lost the ability to operate inside it. Level 2, the case officer trainee. You're 21. You graduate from what they officially call the farm, Camp Peary, Virginia. You've learned surveillance detection, dead drops, cover identities, and how to build a legend, a fake life so complete that someone could search your name and find absolutely nothing alarming. Your legend says you work for an agricultural consulting firm. Your fake LinkedIn has 11 connections. 3 of them are real people who don't even know you exist. You're assigned to a field training rotation in Frankfurt, West Germany. The year is 1987. The city is still split. The wall is still standing. The Soviet intelligence apparatus, the KGB, operates openly through the Soviet consulate on Kennedy Alley. Unofficially, they run assets through half the embassies in the city. Your first task is simple. Follow a Soviet cultural attaché named Dmitry Vusilov. Learn his routine, where he eats, when he walks, whether he has a habit, a weakness, or a schedule that breaks. You follow him for 11 days. On the 12th day, he sits at the same cafe, same table, same coffee. You sit 3 tables away. He looks up directly at you. He doesn't say a word. He just looks, then goes back to his newspaper. You return to base. Your supervisor, a woman named Margaret, reviews your report. She circles 1 line. Subject appeared to acknowledge surveillance. She looks at you across the desk. Appeared to or did? You say you're not sure. She puts the pen down and tells you that's the most honest thing you could have said. Now go back and be sure. You go back the next day. You change your route, your coat, your walk. Vusilov doesn't look up. You file your report. It says subject did not acknowledge surveillance. Margaret reads it. She nods once. That's the second most honest thing you could have said. Before we go further, if you've made it this far, comment what you want next. Hit that like button right now and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We upload every single day. Level 3, the field officer. You're 27. You're running your first asset. His name, the name he gave you, is Tariq. He's a mid-level administrator in the Syrian Ministry of Defense. You met him at a conference in Beirut. He approached you, which made your supervisor nervous. Assets who come to you are either desperate or sent by the enemy. Tariq says he's desperate. His daughter needs surgery, the kind you can only get in Europe and the kind that costs money a ministry clerk doesn't have. You tell Langley. They say develop the relationship, but don't commit resources yet. You meet Tariq 6 more times over 4 months, in hotel lobbies, in a bookstore in Nicosia, and once on a ferry between Athens and Piraeus. He passes you names, procurement schedules, and mid-level offices. It's nothing earth-shattering, but it's consistent. On the 7th meeting, Tariq says his daughter's condition is getting worse. You radio Langley, and they say, not yet. On the 8th meeting, Tariq doesn't show. 3 days later, you see his name in a Syrian state newspaper, arrested for economic crimes against the state. The charge is a known code. It means someone told them. You run the timeline in your head. 6 handlers knew about Tariq. 4 of them were yours, and 2 were in a different division. Langley opens an internal review, but it finds nothing. You know that doesn't mean nothing happened. You think about Tariq's daughter. You don't even know her name. That was intentional. The less you personalize an asset, the easier it is to keep running after they're gone. You understood the logic. You applied the logic. And still, some Tuesday afternoon, years from now, you will be in a meeting and someone will say the word Damascus, and for 1/2 second, you will think about a man in a bookstore in Nicosia who just wanted his daughter to live. Level 4, the operations officer. You're 33. You're no longer following people. You're moving them. You're stationed in Islamabad. The year is 1988. The Soviet-Afghan war is in its final stage. The CIA's Operation Cyclone is funneling billions of dollars, Stinger missiles, and anti-tank weapons through Pakistan's ISI to the Afghan Mujahideen. You are one of the people in the middle. Your job is not strategy, it is logistics with consequences. You coordinate the movement of equipment from Peshawar into eastern Afghanistan. You never cross the border yourself, but you know the people who do. You know their names, their routes, and their safe houses. One morning, a courier named Wally doesn't arrive at the checkpoint. His route took him through the Khyber Pass, a route he's used 17 times. You wait 14 hours before filing the report. 2 weeks later, intelligence confirms Wally was captured by Soviet forces east of Jalalabad. He was carrying documentation that could expose 3 other couriers. Langley asks you one question. Did you personally verify the documentation was sanitized before he departed? You say yes, because you did. They close the file, but the other couriers are pulled. Their routes are changed, and the operation continues. Wally is never recovered. Level 5, the senior operations officer. You're 39. You have a corner office on the 4th floor at Langley and a parking spot with your name on it. You manage a portfolio of 12 active field operations across 4 countries. You don't know the names of all the assets. That's intentional. If you don't know a name, you can't give it. One morning, the deputy director of operations sits down next to you at the briefing. This is unusual. He shows you a cable. A station in Eastern Europe has a high-value source inside the GRU. The DDO wants a senior officer to run the operation personally. He's looking at you. You say yes. What they don't tell you is that 2 previous officers were assigned this same source. The first was transferred. The second resigned. Neither will tell you why. You fly to Warsaw. The first dead drop goes perfectly. The second drop contains something unexpected, a photograph of you taken outside your hotel before you even made contact with the source. You don't panic, but you know what it means. Someone knew you were coming. You fly back to Washington and request a private meeting with the DDO. He listens and says he'll look into it. 3 weeks later, the source goes silent. The operation is quietly closed. No explanation is ever given. Level 6, the station chief. You're 44. You run the Beirut station. It's the mid-90s and it is never safe. Your primary target is Hezbollah's External Operations Unit. After 8 months, one of your officers develops a contact, a logistics manager with connections to a man known as Abu Samir. You send the profile to Langley. They say proceed with caution. 4 weeks later, your officer is followed. He gets out clean, but the contact disappears. His business closes. His apartment is empty. You write the report yourself, including every detail. Langley's response is a single word: noted. That word sits in your stomach for days. Level 8, the Deputy Director of Operations. You're 52. You are now the second highest operational authority in the CIA. Your name is redacted from everything. You oversee 212 active operations. You attend the President's daily briefing. You didn't create the rendition programs or the black sites, but your name is on the documents approving them. One morning, a Senate Intelligence Committee staffer calls you. A report is being finalized, and your name appears in it 37 times. Your counsel tells you some of it is accurate and some of it is not, but you won't be able to publicly dispute the lies. Silence was once discipline. Now, silence is something else. Level 9, the director. You're 61. You sit behind the desk on the 7th floor. The memorial wall downstairs has 37 stars. You knew 6 of them personally. Your first month is a crisis. A network of assets in Iran have gone dark. 7 sources, no contact. You brief the president. That evening, a leak appears in a major newspaper about a separate program. The timing is a message. You identify the source of the leak, a career official 3 levels below you, and hand the file to the Department of Justice. The Iran